Welcome to the Anecdote.
Hey, now this is one of the most popular, frequently asked questions I receive is how do I get buff quickly? I understand that many people want to avoid the long haul of having to put all the effort in over such a long period of time to achieve certain results, and that's understandable. However, there are a few things you need to bear in mind while you're on your voyage or on your journey to achieve this. Okay. I'll give a few tips before I actually go ahead. Firstly, this would be don't micromanage and get consumed by the sport, because oftentimes people want to pack this muscle on and look the way they want to look and feel great, and they tend to be consumed by the sport where they get this obsession and begin to micromanage and stick to their diet religiously, like start beginning to count calories and such forth. That's great in theory, okay, but it begins to hurt when it's not yours and it's not coming from you and it's not an intrinsic pursuit, okay. Another issue you need to bear in mind is that this is not an A to B destination. It's a circular loop, okay. This keeps going around and around, okay. As well as you need to educate yourself on issues or disciplines or fields such as neuropsychology, physiology, which will give you an indication or provide you some insight with regards to hormones, neurotransmitters, anatomy, and how the body responds to certain things, okay. And an additional aspect that you need to bear in mind is that we're all different. We all come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. We all have different motivations. We come from different genetic pools, have different physical structures. We have different likes and dislikes. We have different responses to different types of food. We're inherently different. Okay, so there's no one size fits all approach to this. Okay, there are people who have investigated the science of building muscle and building your body and such forth, but there is no expert in building your body. Okay, but this is an art essentially. Okay, this cannot be taught. Okay, because it's a manifestation of what goes on inside. Okay, so you don't want to deprive yourself of that learning experience. Okay, and I often hear people saying, "Oh, what's the point of going through all this? I could just jab some Trenbolone, some testosterone, take a couple of D-balls, some PCT and some growth hormone, and I'll be fine." Okay, but these things work. Don't get me wrong. Okay, you will get the results that you want in a very short period of time. Okay, however, the question is, can you survive the clinical depression that often results as a result of cutting down the use or the termination of the use of these anabolic steroids? Can you survive it? Okay, because the way these things work is you cannot stay. Okay, in theory you can stay on it for a while, but in practice it's a bit of a challenge, because you end up having these pains in your liver, the changes in your blood pressure and such forth, and sometimes you're forced to reduce or even stop the use of these quick fixes, so to speak, and then oftentimes the depression results because you lose that perceived strength and the musculature and that sense of well-being that you once had is no longer there, okay, like it used to be. Okay, so you constantly want to achieve that. So what seems to be central in this aspect of you being able to survive this is having a strong sense of self. Okay, how well do you know yourself? You should not need to look a certain way for you to feel a certain way. Okay, this is why the way I can express this or give you an understanding of this is if I use general systems theory an ecosystemic approach to this. Okay, picture growth and stability on two ends of a continuum. Okay, so growth and stability cause a dynamic change in the system, so to speak. Okay, so but they work together to find an equilibrium or a balance. Okay, so this suggests that there's a homeostatic principle involved in this. Okay, and within this continuum lies another continuum of equipotentiality and equifinality. Okay, equifinality basically refers to there being a where the final position may be the same, whereas your starting position is different, juxtaposed to equipotentiality, where the original or potential situation or circumstance can be the same or similar, whereas final positions can be different. Okay, so this tells us that you could have similar starting points with different final positions and different final positions with similar starting points. Okay, or have I got that correctly? Yes. Okay, excuse me if I got those two confused. Yeah, it is quite complex. Yeah. So the idea is this: we're talking about the journey and the destination. So if you bear these concepts take these concepts into consideration in that manner, you'll see that the journey and the destination are intertwined. And like the great Abraham Maslow said, the activity that leads to the goal is an end in itself. Okay, so you want to be fully immersed in this. Okay, so don't look at it as I need to be at a certain level or a certain standard to feel a certain way. The trouble, what makes it so complex, is the social standards and commercialization. Okay, for example, being made to believe that you should look a certain way by society to feel a certain way, or be having the cash prize in the end, like these or any kind of extrinsic reward, like these white collar strategists or the aristocrats or the powers that be might dangle some kind of extrinsic reward or something that warrants bragging rights at the end of their own fabricated finish line. Okay, to get one to aspire to achieve something in order to feel a certain way, and the social standards might make you want to look a certain way to feel a certain way, and we end up being in that never-ending chase, because one needs to bear in mind that there is you need to take into account the non-existent nature of the finish line. Okay, because like I mentioned earlier, that loop, that starting position, final position, starting position. Okay, you need to find the equilibrium within the two. Okay, so it's basically all the same thing. You're just going around in circles. So what is vital at this point is that you have a strong sense of self and do not need to have one thing to feel like another. Okay, so for this week, that's my antidote for the anecdote. I'm Absalom. See you next time.